All right. So today, what I'd like to talk about is word parts.
Okay.
Yeah? Do you know anything about word parts?
Like how the syllables connect?
Syllables connect, yeah. And maybe sometimes you can like divide things up. Hi, say hi to Dr. Barrett.
Hello, Dr. Barrett.
Can you think of a way that you could like maybe chop up different words into different parts? You said by syllables. Have you ever heard of like suffixes and prefixes before?
Is that how you say it?
Suffix or prefix or an affix?
I forgot how to say it.
It's okay. So let's take a look at one of these words. Boom. What's that word?
Preheat.
Preheat. If you're going to chop up that word into two different parts, how would you divide it up?
Preheat.
Yeah. So in fact, I want you to do that for me. I want you to cut that word into two different parts. Pre and heat, right?
Okay.
So what does this part mean?
Like you're like trying to, I can't use that word and describe it with itself.
Well, what's a synonym?
Hot?
Hot, right? So this base word means something like hot or something like that, right? So heat would mean hot. What about this? What is this?
Before.
Before. So pre would mean before. So I love that you have put that together because that's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about certain prefixes, and when you look at pre, that would be a prefix. That would be something that becomes before the regular part of the word, the base word, the root word, right?
Yeah.
So if we were going to think about the prefix pre.
Oh, pre and prefix.
I know, that's a good connection, isn't it? Before you fix it to the word, yeah. So if you're going to think about pre, what did you say that means? You would say pre means what?
Before.
Before. So I think you have a good understanding of what pre means. Now, the prefixes we're going to talk about today are actually going to all have to do with position. So pre means before, so like before something, right? But there's also some other prefixes we're going to talk about. Have you ever heard of this one?
Pre-for.
What does it say?
For.
For, right? So if you use the prefix for, what if I was going to say we were watching the weather with the storm earlier, right?
Yeah.
And I got an alert that forewarned me about the storm.
Like a before warning?
A before warning, right?
Oh, that also means pre and before.
Yeah, so I would say for could also mean before. It can also mean like in front of. So I would say, you could say it was before or maybe like in front. So if you see the prefix for, you know that for would mean
before
or
in front.
In front, yep. Now another position prefix that we are going to talk about today is this one.
Mid.
Mid. What does that mean?
Middle. It's
Middle.
like shorter.
It's kind of short for middle, yeah. So you could say that if you see the prefix mid, you know that it would mean middle. Okay, there's two more. Another one is going to be this one. Hop up in the chair so you can see real good. Another one is going to be
Enter.
enter. What do you think that one might mean?
I see international.
Okay, so you see that example of international. Good. Now, what does that make you think?
It makes me think of George Washington.
Okay, makes you think of George
In
Washington.
the United States.
Okay. Now, I'm going to give you a clue. International, I'm going to say means...
National. Inter, you mean, not international.
I'm going to say inter means...
Between?
Between. Between. Okay? So international would mean between.
Between the nations?
Between nations. So if you think of like maybe like the World Cup that's going on right now.
Oh. Would look
That
up
would be a soccer tournament between
the U.S.
and
Brazil?
other nations, right?
South Korea?
Yeah, so different nations competing in
Vietnam?
soccer.
Mexico?
Yeah.
Canada?
Now, there's one more that we're going to talk about. One more prefix in the position prefix family. That's an O.
Opposed.
Post.
Postpone. That's what I
Postpone,
think.
okay. That's a good connection. I'm going to say that post means
After?
after. Very good. So if you ever see the prefix post, you're going to say that has something to do with
Post
after.
game. I
Yeah.
see post game over here.
So I'm glad that you noticed the cards that we have up today, because here's what I would like for you to do. I would like for you to take your scissors, and I would like for you to chop all of those words into 2 different word parts. When you chop them into 2 different word parts, I would like you to use these prefixes as your first part.
Would I put the prefixes onto?
Nope, you can just chop them up. Chop them up, think about them.
The way I cut it, now it looks like an N.
That's all right. We'll know it's there. While you're doing that, I'm going to make this into a little bit more of a chart, okay?
I'm separating them into 2 different parts.
Ooh, I like that. Okay, so you're making 2 different piles.
Pre-made, I think, is before it's made.
Before it's made? Yeah.
Maybe I'll.
Have you ever thought of that word before?
No, really?
No. Have you ever seen anything that was pre-made?
Like, are you talking about like in the kitchen
Could be.
or?
What about when we went
I've
to...
seen when Mom was cooking chicken.
Mhm.
Before she cooked it, it was pre-made.
Okay. What about the, when you guys went to Aldi and you bought that pizza?
Yeah.
You remember that?
Oh yeah.
Was it already cooked?
No, it was pre-made.
But it was pre-made. We didn't have to make it all here, right? All we had to do was just, what did we have to do to make it?
We just have to put it in the oven
Just had to put it in the oven,
for
right?
like an hour.
Okay. Did we have to like get all the ingredients and mix them together?
Huh.
No, because it was pre-made. It was made before.
Oh, so that's what it means. So if you're like making like if you were making
So if you were making what?
so if you're like getting McDonald's but you want to add a lot of stuff when you get home,
Mhm.
it would still be pre-made.
Something like that, yeah. Have you ever seen any of these words before?
Preview.
Preview?
I have.
Yeah.
Like a preview of the game, or kind of like a trailer
Okay.
to a movie.
Yep, I like that.
like before you view it.
Before you view it, before you see it,
Yeah.
you just see like a little commercial of it or something like that?
Yeah.
Good. So I'm glad you're familiar with some of these because what I'd like to do is talk about each one and see what you think of these words. Let's see if we can use what we know about the prefixes and then combine them with the root words to figure out their meaning. Okay?
Okay.
All right, so choose any prefix that you want. Now I'd like for you to match it up with the root word.
Does it have to be the one it was connected to?
One that would make sense. One that would make sense. Do you remember which one it was connected to?
I want to think of a different one.
Okay. Well, which one was it connected to?
It
the
was
first time?
game.
So let's look at it together. Put it on this sheet of paper here. Post game. What does that mean?
After the game.
Right? Post means after, right? So after the game.
Like, let's say I was playing baseball.
Mm-hmm.
Well, after the game, it would be post game.
So are there activities that we have done after baseball sometimes?
Sometimes we go to Dairy Queen.
Sometimes we go to Dairy Queen for post-game ice cream after the game, right?
Yes.
Good. Now, I want you to keep that root word on there. Sorry, I misspoke. Keep the prefix on there. Is there a different word that you could think might make sense with post?
This kind of makes sense. Post day.
Put it on there. Now let's talk about post day.
Like after the day.
After the day, right? So you might say,
Because the day can end on
Right.
the game.
right. So there's an ending to the day. After the day ends, you might say it was post day, right? Very good. All right. So
I
do me a
wish
favor.
the root word pone was on here so I could be like.
You think so, huh?
Yes.
Let's go ahead and stick game back on that one because those did match up. I'll let you have this, and you can kind of re-put those word parts back together.
Can I just move them on?
Yep, put them on there. Good. Now what part is that?
The
Is that-
prefix.
That's the prefix. And then what's the other part? I got you. You did.
No, there's one more.
Did one fall?
Too far.
Oh my goodness, it's snowing. I'm gonna move them up just a little bit so your arm doesn't get stuck to them.
Oh no, it's stuck in it.
Okay, so we got post game, right? After the game. I'm gonna put that right there. Let's do another one. Pick out another prefix. Any prefix. And just stick it on there. Don't glue it yet, but just put it on there. Now find the root word that went along with it. Aha!
Midday.
Midday. So what
Like
would that mean?
noon or somewhere near.
How did you know noon? What told you that midday would be around noon?
Because if you look at a clock,
Uh-huh.
it goes around 2 times.
Yeah.
And 12 is at the end of every cycle.
Okay.
Or
It goes around 2
beginning.
times, so it would
Or-
be 12
Actually,
noon.
it's actually the beginning because, like, 11:59 is a.m. would be 1 minute before noon.
Mhm.
Then 12 o'clock would be noon, and that's p.m.
What are some different activities you do that are midday?
Lunch.
Lunch, yep, that's good. Other things. Wait, do you eat dinner midday?
No, you eat dinner like basically like midday and post it.
In between, I got it. Perfect, very good. So midday would be middle of the day. All right. Is there another root word that might go with mid?
Your old school was Midview,
That's true. My old school was Midview. You're right.
but that would not go with it.
That didn't go with it, but I can tell you the history of that school.
No.
They called it Midview because it was in Lorain County. And do you think that it is at the very southern tip of Lorain County? Or the very northern tip of
No.
Lorain County?
It was between.
It was in the
Enter.
middle. It was right in the middle of Lorain County. So that's why they called it Midview. Now, you said that there was another one. It was what?
Midpoint.
Midpoint.
I did?
Oh, I thought you did. But that is the middle.
Really?
So go ahead and glue that one together. Midpoint. Let's
Really?
talk about
Because
that.
I thought we were gonna do the.
Well, we have two
The-
mids.
Good.
So I'm going to give you
That was
two.
the other one, right?
Yep. You got two mids. Midday and mid.
Point.
Midpoint.
The word point reminds me of Cedar Point,
Okay.
and we haven't gone there in a while.
We haven't gone to Cedar Point. What about if you were on a journey, like we took a vacation, right? We were on our trip, and when we were driving, can you think of what the midpoint would have been on our journey when we were driving?
Our vacation mission?
Mm-hmm.
It was at Niagara Falls, Buffalo.
Niagara Falls. So that was at the very beginning of our journey.
No, not even mid.
Yeah, it is. I was being silly. So the midpoint was Niagara Falls because we stopped in the middle of our drive, right?
Yes.
And we drove from Albany to Niagara Falls, and then we came home to Cleveland, right?
Yes.
So midpoint would have been Niagara Falls. Very good. Now, what part of the day was it when we were in Niagara Falls? Was it midday?
Basically,
Kind of.
it was like between midday and post day.
Yeah.
Is post day a real word?
It is a real word.
Okay.
All right, so we've got midday, we've got midpoint, we've got post game, and let's do this. Let's pick another prefix. Put the cap on. Please. Gracias mucho.
De nada. Is that what I'm supposed to say?
Pick out one of those other prefixes. What'd you pick out?
4.
For. Now look at our chart. Tell me what for means. The position, the prefix for.
Before. In front.
Before or in front. Now look at your list of root words and match up something that went with for. Now remember we had two root words in over there.
Forewarn. Forewarn.
Forewarn. Yep.
And wait, this one?
What does that root word mean?
Warm means, well, it sounds like warm, which means hot.
Kind of sounds like that, but that would be a different word altogether. Warn and warm are different words. If I'm going to warn you about something, what would that mean?
It would mean that you were telling me about something that's gonna happen.
Yes, I would be telling you something is going to happen. I would be warning you that something is going to happen.
You warn.
So if I forewarn, then I'm telling you after it happened?
Before.
Before it happens, yep. Can you think of a time when you were forewarned of something?
You were watching the news.
Mm-hmm.
For Oklahoma.
Okay.
Because that's where your parents live.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a tornado forewarning.
You're right. They were warning people about the tornado that was coming, right?
Yeah.
So they would have a forewarn. Good. Now, we've got another for. What else matched up with for? Do you remember? Was it for national?
No, that's
Foreview?
enter. No,
Hmm.
not forelock. Is it forehead? For made?
Was it for made?
Oh, it was pre-made.
It was forehead.
Really?
Mhm.
You never say anything, so I was just.
Yep. So let's see. For would mean
It would mean.
before or.
In front.
Mm-hmm. And then what is that?
In front of your head?
Where's your forehead?
Oh.
Right? Forehead.
I wasn't even thinking of that.
So your forehead would be in what part of your head? On the back of your head?
In the front.
In the front.
I
In
never
front of
even
your head.
knew why they called it the forehead.
Now you know. It's just the prefix.
Wait, shouldn't it be for face?
I don't know. I just said head. People that make up words are funny, right? Okay, we've got 2 more prefixes to go over.
For face?
Pick out our next prefix. Which one are we going to do next?
Pre.
Pre.
Where's
How many
fix?
pre's do we have? How many
Um,
pre's do you have here in this stack?
3.
You have 3. You have 3 pre's?
Are you saying 3 priests?
3? No, not priests.
Or
3
3
pre.
Preschool?
So you've got preschool. Yeah. Now school's not one of our root words, but what would that mean?
It would mean before school.
Before school.
Like, it's also a kind of school.
When do you go to preschool?
When you're like 3 and 4 or something.
When you're 3 and 4, before you start
School.
school. Yeah.
Like real school.
Yeah.
It's like learning the things you need to know for kindergarten.
Yeah, perfect. Can you find the root words that match up with your prefixes?
Glue.
That's all right. Just stick it on there.
Okay. Pre-made.
Pre-made, yep.
Meh.
And
Preview.
preview, okay.
Preview.
Preheat. All right, cool. Go ahead and stick those together and let's talk about them as you do them. So you're doing preheat right now.
Yes.
Can you ever think of a term when you've heard that term preheat before?
Oh, when you remember that pizza you were talking about
Yeah.
earlier?
Mhm.
We had to preheat the oven to like 300, 400 degrees or something.
You're right. So you're heating it before you cook, right?
Yep.
Now what word are you doing here?
Preview. It's like
Preview.
a trailer.
Yes, so we talked about that a minute ago, and it was like kind of when you have a viewing of a show before you actually watch the show, you might watch a preview.
I'm almost done with the pre-made,
You
which
are
is
almost done with
before it's
pre-made.
made, like the pizza.
Yeah. So kind of like that Aldi's
When you're
pizza.
preheating it, it's also pre-made.
You preheat the oven before you put the pre-made pizza in,
Yes.
and then sometimes when you're looking through the window of the oven while it's still cooking, you're just getting a preview of what the pizza's going to look like.
Pre is good with frozen pizzas.
Yeah, that's really awesome. So we'll put pre right over here on this chart. Preview, preheat, pre-made, pre meaning before.
And now I know international and interlock.
Okay, international and interlock. Perfect. So let me give you a couple more little pieces of paper here. Let's talk about those 2 words. Well, what does the prefix inter mean?
Inter means between.
Between. Okay, so
Between.
go ahead and
nations?
stick between nations. So remember we were talking about the soccer competition, the World Cup, right?
Yeah.
So that is a soccer competition that is international.
Yes.
So how many nations compete in the World Cup? Do you know? 1?
A lot.
A lot. A lot of nations compete in the World Cup. So that would be a soccer competition that is international or between nations. So how many teams does the United States have in the international competition?
The United States has 2 women's and men's.
Oh, women's and men's. You're right. So in just the Women's World Cup, how many do we have?
1.
One. We have one because our nation competes against the other nations, right? Between nations. Now let's talk about interlock. What does that mean?
Interlock.
Yeah, interlock.
Between
lock. That's kind of
between
strange.
codes. Between passwords.
Here's what I would like for you to do. I would like for you to interlock your fingers.
Oh.
You have locked your fingers between each other.
Oh.
Interlocked. Isn't that cool?
My fingers will come together. Don't try to move your fingers.
I'm just
let them
kidding.
be, and they'll just move together like they're mine.
Cool fact. Fun fact. All right, so now we have successfully put back together our different word parts, right?
Yes.
And we looked at all these prefixes from the prefix family, position,
Yes.
and all these prefixes had some kind of a positional meaning. Some of them mean before, right? Some of them mean in the middle.
Yes.
Some of them mean between. And some of them mean after. So all those different ones have different
Are
positional
these
meanings.
all the prefixes?
Do you think that's all the prefixes?
No.
No, it's just that these kind of have something in
The
common.
main.
They're kind of like a family together. There's other ones that mean different things. Like there's like a not prefix family. Can you think of other prefixes that are like that? That would mean not. If I'm not happy, I would be unhappy, right? Or the other prefixes in the not family, and we'll learn about this too, would be like non or im or dis. Those would kind of mean not as well.
Wait.
But these, do these mean not?
No.
These
they
mean-
mean times
Or positions, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, before, in front of, middle, between, and after. So, now here's your task. I want you to take your knowledge of these words with these prefixes, and I want you to select at least 3. You can select more, but at least 3. And then I want you to write me a silly story using at least 3 of these words.
Does it have to be silly or? Yeah. Right.
Knowing you, I think you'd write a really good silly story. But if you want to write a serious story, really boring, serious story, you can do that too.
Random story generator.
What are you thinking?